Jamie. I'm going to be the one out here talking to all of you. Well, we have one of our other trainers, Ariel, coming out with one of our sea lions. I'm going to make my way down here. Now, this is the sea lion up close. So basically what we're going to be doing is just a relationship with our California sea lion who's coming out to visit us. His name is Murdock. He is an adult male California sea lion. He is just under 500 pounds right now and working his way up that weight range. While I'm out here, I'm going to be talking to you a lot about the differences between California sea lions, harbor seals, and maybe even a little bit of the difference between Guadalupe fur seals. But it'll give you an opportunity to really take a close look at our California sea lions, and you have an opportunity at 5 o'clock to come back and see our normal show presentation. But right now, we're just going to talk about our wonderful sea lions. Now, Murdock has been with our family now for over a decade. He came to us when he was just about 2 years old. He was actually born in our Florida park. He is a rarity for us. So most of our California sea lions that do our performances here are actually rescue animals. So we are right along our California state oceans. So a lot of times, our rescue team is called out to stick injured animals, and pretty often they are actually deemed what we call non-releasable. It's actually not us that decides that. It is actually fish and wildlife that decides that, and natural fisheries. So if we have an animal that has been rescued and rehabilitated, we do our very best to send them back out on their way. We have had several that have returned several times, and at that point they're deemed non-releasable. But Murdock here is a little bit different. He was born in the exhibit to his mother in Florida. We were happy to have him join our family, and he is just a fabulous guy. He's very sweet, he's very good at meeting new people, but he loves hanging out with his trainers. We spend a lot of time just building our relationship with our animals. And that does mean long hours and playing and having fun. As you can see, Ariel brought some of Murdock's favorite enrichment devices out here with him. That is actually a tough toy, and you might have just heard me say enrichment device. That is a really fancy word for toys. We actually have quite a large toy closet back behind the stage here, not only for our California sea lions, but also our Asian river otters. Each toy is made so that we know that it is safe for our animals to have, a lot like having toddlers. Most of our animals interact with their toys with their mouth, so we want to make sure that it is safe for them to have, whether it be a sea lion or an otter. Obviously, the enrichment devices for otters are normally a lot smaller, whereas the sea lion ones are a lot larger. But we, through time, and spending time with them, understand what our animals tend to like. Some animals don't like that little tough toy. Some of our animals like ice, or they like a frisbee, or they like jolly ball, different things. But that's how we spend our time with our animals, getting to know what exactly they like. Pretty cute. As I continue on, does anyone have any questions so far? You can just raise your hand and I'll be happy to answer them. Nope. One of the things I did not mention is, since this is part of our Inside Look presentation, at the conclusion of our presentation, on either exit of our stadiums, you can receive those stamps if you have not yet done so. So that's when you should receive stamps. All right, so, like I said, we spend a lot of time with our animals developing our relationship. So, with Murdock here and all of our other California sea lions, a lot of people want to know how we train them to do the things that we do in our normal everyday shows and our lifestyle. So we use what we call operant conditioning, which is a really fancy term for our animals learn in their environment. So a lot like you and I learn how to read and write, our animals learn how to do the different things we ask them for. And Cameron's giving you a nice little demonstration of how we just play with our animals. It's not always about the toys or the food. Sometimes we just run around and we just have a good time, and you see that Murdock's really excited to do that. That is the form of our technique is, again, we don't always feed them if they do something good. We We need to find other things that we can reinforce them with.
Yeah, great did it.
But just like you and I learned how to read and write, they can learn in small steps. One of the first things that our sea lions learn is that they have their very own name. We actually have 13 sea lions in the back there, all in different stages of training. So when we first got introduced to Murdock, and he was already eating fish, obviously, by the time he got here, we would basically give him a fish and call his name Murdock. Fish, Murdock. Eventually he realized to associate his name with himself. And then we also trained him the word okay. We need a way to communicate to the animals that that is exactly what I asked you to do at that precise moment. So we use the word okay here. It's called a bridge signal. So it is a fancy word for it bridges the time gap in between a correct behavior and the reinforcement that is to follow. And the reinforcement can be anything. Once again, it could be toys, it could be fish, it could be a rub dad, it could be getting to play chase with your trainer. All of these things are positive for our animals and they enjoy doing them. It will increase the frequency of behavior. So from there, they know their name, they know the bridge signal, okay. Now we start training them for shaping behavior. The behaviors that we utilize are things that you could see in the open ocean of them just playing on their own. The big trick to ours is we put them on hand signals. Some of our sea lions know hundreds of behaviors. It just depends on how long they've been training and that individual animal. So, when we first start training a behavior, okay, who sees those target poles right over there? Those giant looking Q-tips, yep? Okay, we call those target poles. They are an extension of our hand. The next thing a sea lion will learn is to gently place his nose on our hand. With his mouth closed perfectly, some of the younger ones don't always get that right away. Then we will bridge them and we will reinforce them. And that normally takes about a week or two for them to really understand either a hand target or we also use those targets. Those are again an extension of our hand. With all of this, we can start shaping behavior. So that means I'm going to take whatever behavior I want, and this will be the easiest one I can think of right now. You've seen our shows, and we will actually ask them to shake their head yes. How we do that is Murdock will stand in front of me. I'll ask him for a hand target up here. I'll bridge it, I can reinforce it. So he gets that part. I'll ask again. I'll bridge it. Okay, then I'll ask down here. His head automatically moves down. So through time, I can ask him right, target, 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 target. Okay. So the signal, which is our head moving up and down, they associate with the up and down movement. Eventually, through time, I can pull those targets out, and he will just respond with a head nod. Now, what she's doing right now is actually a hula, and he just showed off a little bit. He's also learning a pirouette. He's a very fast dancer. He's very excited about his new behavior. The hula is just an upright rotation. It can go either direction. It's really the trainer's preference. Preferably they'll know both sides, because some of our animals are both some are not. So how you start training the hula is we have a short version of those target poles. Once again, they already know how to touch their nose to get into that, and we'll turn it in a small circle. Keep turning it. We'll bridge it and feed it. We'll bridge it and feed it through successive approximations. Once they have that idea, we'll go hula, and then move the target around. Hula, move the target around. Okay. They are very, very smart animals. They learn very quickly. All of them are a little bit different. Some are very good at learning physical behaviors quickly. Some of them are better at learning kind of more cerebral behaviors quickly. It just really depends on each and every one of the animals and how the trainer trains. So I've talked a lot about how we train different things and how we use different practices. One of the questions that I will always get is what happens if they do something that isn't correct or something that we don't want to see again. We have trained a behavior called least reinforcing scenario. This is a 3-second pause of eye contact. That is literally all it is. So what it teaches our animals is Failure is okay. It is okay to make a mistake. If you made a mistake and you didn't get that bridge, you didn't hear that word okay, come back. Look at me. You're fine. We're going to move on. We will often reinforce the least reinforcing scenario because it is always better to have an animal that fails a whole lot but has a great attitude. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. He has a lot to say about that. Very nice. So that least reinforcing scenario is something that was developed here at SeaWorld, starting with the orcas actually, and we have utilized it, and it has since been spread throughout the industry. It is a behavior, so we can ask for least reinforcing scenario whether it was an incorrect behavior performed or not correct. That significantly Alright, well it looks like he's going to be on his way out here. He's had a great time playing with his two trainers, Cameron and Ariel. I will remain down here for just a few more minutes if you have questions. That was a whole lot of information in a short amount of time. Yeah, what's your question?
Yeah, how long do you need to train a sea lion from beginning to
That's actually a really good question. She's asking how long does it take to train a sea lion to perform in a show from beginning to end? I will tell you that their training never actually ends. They are always learning something new. What we do is we break down our show into segments. So if you're a younger animal, and you might have, if you were here in our 12 o'clock show, you saw one of the younger animals come out. All she did was the open part of the show. So we break it down into segments. So once she gets used to the behaviors that we're going to ask in the show, we'll do those pretty regularly, and then we'll have trainers sit out in the audience, and then we'll have the music playing. So it could take, depending on how big of a segment they're going to do, it could take a month or two, depending on how sensitive that particular animal is to crowds and to music and everything else that happens out here. Because they might know the behavior well in advance, but they also have to get used to all your smiling faces out here too, because an empty stadium is very different from them when it's all full up. So, and then they will continue. As they learn one segment, then they build upon that. Typically, the Seymour role is the first role they learn because it's not as complex. The behaviors aren't as complex. So once they get the Seymour role completely done, we start on the Clyde role, and they'll be learning those behaviors until they're no longer doing shows. But I will say they do shows most of their lives, and it's very reinforcing for them. They do enjoy it. As they age, we do alter behavior, because just like you and I have diabetes, we have some that have shoulder issues, so we don't ask those really high energy, high impact behaviors. So we do that well in advance before we see anything like that. Good question. What's your question, honey? How much do they eat per day, including the reward? Each animal has their very own space. So I have an animal in the back that weighs 160 pounds. She's about 11 pounds a day. Murdock is almost 500 pounds, and he's 21 pounds a day. So it depends on the animal, but they all get twice a week. Actually, I just realized that it's twice a week so that they maintain weight. With the male sea lions, it can range in weight 100 to 200 pounds within the year, depending on the season. So they gain and lose almost 100 to 200 pounds. Yeah, good. That's a lot.